Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where today we will be taking a look at the Era 3 Premium Heavy, the Leopard 2 KWS III. For those of you short on time, here is my quick overview. The KWS is, for the most part, a good tank, but the Gun Sigma, the Gun Sigma leaves a lot to be desired, as you saw there, and there, and here as well. Yeah, not sure what's going on with this. It seems that the accuracy of the gun is based on the reticle pluming after you've fired, but that happens before you fired, so I'm not sure what's going on with the gun. When it doesn't do that, it's great. When it does do that, you miss shots and you're just left scratching your head thinking, what the heck is going on with the gun? But aside from that, it is a good premium. Obviously, the gun is a big deal in any tank, obviously. So that being maybe not the best start for this thing, but I have had some enjoyable games in this thing. And in fact, this game you're seeing here, this was a very fun game. This was a very enjoyable game. This was a very good game as well. So it's not all bad. I will say it's not exactly all bad. Because the frontal armor of this thing is very, very strong. It is strong enough to repel the ATGMs from the tiny toxic parasites that plague Era 3. And from an economy point of view as well, it's pretty good because it's got a 65% silver boost. But the burning question is, should you get one? Well, the base package is an eye-watering 17,300 gold. That is £57, and I don't know about you, but in my opinion, Era 3 is not in good enough shape for that amount of money to be considered money well spent. As good as this tank is, as good as it can be, I personally feel that it is adding to the problem of Era 3, the problem that Era 3 is facing right now, and for that reason, I wouldn't recommend you buy this tank at the moment. So I'm going to stress, at the moment. If Era 3 changes, if Wargaming make sweeping changes to Era 3, then maybe reconsider buying it. But at the moment, as the game is right now, I wouldn't recommend you buy one. Alright, so let's take a look at the KWS in a little more detail. And what we're going to do is we're going to compare it to what is arguably its closest rival, the Object 292. Just shot one just there. So, without crew or equipment, the KWS has 844mm of pen on its standard rounds, each of which will do an average of 700 alpha. Comparatively, the 292 has 900mm of pen and 760 alpha. So, I'm going to pause right there for a second. The KWS has a gun that underperforms from a Sigma point of view, as I showed at the start of this video, and it underperforms from an alpha and penetration point of view when you compare it to the 292. Why is that a big deal? Why am I making a point out of this? Well, the 292 was a level 100 season reward tank, so you could earn one for as little as 6,000 gold. The KWS is more than 10,000 gold more expensive, and its gun is worse. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of a parasite, there goes one there. Yes, run away, Mr. Weasel. Haha. I'll be seeing more of you later. So, yes, moving on. The KWS has 3,950 hit points, while the 292 has 100 less, coming in with 3,850 hit points. The KWS has a top speed of 64 km an hour, while the 292 maxes out at 70 km an hour. The KWS has a view range of 535 meters, and a moving concealment value of 474 meters, and the 292 has 500 meter view range and 475 meters of moving concealment. So there you go. That's all the high level stats. And the only real advantage the KWS has over the 292 is view range and hit points. And they're not typically the go-to stats for deciding on whether or not you're going to buy a brand new premium heavy. So yeah, it's not looking great for the KWS, and this downward trend it continues when you dive deeper into the stats. So the 292 has a DPM of 4,431. The KWS has a DPM of 3,787. That's a difference of 644, which is not a small amount. Goodbye, Weasel. See you later. Yeah, so 644. That's not a small difference in DPM. That's quite a large. Well, that is quite a large difference. If we're just putting it bluntly, that's one extra. That's almost one extra round of damage per minute. Yeah, the 292 has a better power to weight ratio, better hull traverse, and better terrain resistance. So, essentially, the 292 is a better all-round tank. Now, you could argue that the armor of the KWS is what sells it, and yes, you might be right. The only trouble with that, as far as I can see, is the armor of this thing really isn't that much different to the Leopard 2A5. Don't get me wrong, the Leopard 2A5 has great frontal armor, you can have great games in it, but it doesn't cost 17,300 gold. If the KWS had arrived in game a year ago, then I could be pushed into saying that you should get one. But given all the other premiums in Era 3 and the catastrophic impact they have had on the quality of the gameplay, my advice to you is save your money. There was a time when having a 65% silver boost was a reason to buy a premium, but lately Wargaming have been slapping that economy stat on all of their broken Era 3 premiums, and what was once special has lost its value, in my opinion. And unfortunately, that's how I see it. And Era 3 doesn't need another tank like this. And it's a real shame that I'm saying that, because I kind of like the Leopard playstyle. I do like this tank, but with everything else that's going on around it, it's just a bad time. It's not good right now. And that's why I wouldn't recommend you guys get one. Not for the price that it's being sold at. And on that bummer, that is all I have for this one, guys. So if you've enjoyed this video, please leave it a like, if not a dislike. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.